Good afternoon. This is Pixalf Studio. Today we'll be animating the Green Forest logo. Let's take a look at the animation. The main element here is this leaf. Based on the name, we emphasized on it all the attention. In this animation we used the bend layers script. Let's see how it works. I'm going to create a new shape layer of any arbitrary shape. Change the parameters a little bit. And open the menu of this script. Here we can specify the number of segments. The more there are, the smoother the object will be. And also specify relative to what the anchor point will be located. Here you can choose the direction and shape of the curvature. In order for the curvature to be correct and the script to work correctly, we need to change the parameters of the composition, making it the size of the object itself. This will work. And we click on the bend button. After the transformation process is complete, we see this controlling null object. We can control it and it will affect our object. We have a number of parameters here, and the most basic one is the first one. This is the one we use to bend this sheet in the animation. There are also other parameters here that we can twist and achieve interesting results, but we don't need them at the moment. Once the customization is complete, we can add it to the main composition, turn on the collapse transformation parameter, and it will affect our camera settings. When animating the sheet here, we used the same script. Here we can change the parameters in 3D. Position, scale, and rotation. For the convenience of this kind of animation, we need to think about the logic. Set a few positions. This is the final pose, the intermediate pose in the animation. Depending on what position the object will be in, relative to this we can and change the amount of bend parameter. If we look at the graph editor of the rotation parameter, we can see that here each rotation is animated individually. And also here we have overshooting in the final phase of the animation. To make this leaf disappear, we used similar parameters, but changed the animation itself. If we remove all the amount of bend parameters, the animation will look like this. It's pretty simple. To make the rotation of this sheet extra spectacular, we used a null object. We can bind an object to a null object like this, and change the rotation parameter. The whole animation was created intuitively, and every time we created a new one we would get a completely new result. There would be different variations of the same idea. There are no pre-made animations or trajectories. For additional effect we used the appearance of these lines. They are animated with the trim path modifier. Such lines help to emphasize the movement of the leaf at key moments. They are also used at the end. In each of them we worked with graph editor. Another distinctive parameter of the leaf landing in its final position were these green particles. We made them using the particular plugin. We changed these parameters here. This is the number of particles. Emitter behavior is set to explode, so that the particles appear only once, and the particle type has been changed to cloud LED. We also changed some minor parameters like velocity, velocity random, life in seconds, random life, size, and size over life. Also applied the drift parameter in the displays tab. This is where we put the keys. They start with these parameters and end with these. All these parameters are customized based on the final animation, and depending on what result we want to get. Based on this leaf animation, we animated the main text as well. For example, if we look at the letter G, it bounces when the leaf flies by. We did the overshooting using elastic expression, using this parameter right here, and we animated the scale and rotation parameter. The appearance looks like this. We used a similar principle when animating the letter R. When a leaf flies by, the main part of this letter appears. We also have an interaction with the letter O. When the leaf lands on its final position, this letter appears, and we have a mask on the leaf. If we look at it, it looks something like this. We've attached this shape to the letter O, and it looks like this. For the mask, we used track matte, the alpha matte parameter. This was necessary for proper exposure with this layer. All the letters were prepared in Adobe Illustrator program and divided into certain logical parts. If we look at them, they consist of these parts. We can crop them either in Adobe Illustrator program or inside After Effects using masks or converting them to shapes. When animating each part of the letter, we used the standard parameters, as well as masks at some points. In general, masks in After Effects is an indispensable tool and often saves in non-trivial tasks. When all the text appears, we use indentation and alternation. We don't have all letters appearing at the same time. This is necessary to attract attention and so that the animation is not boring. For the animation of the text, we used the standard parameters. The animation itself looks as follows. We have animated parameters scale and position for each of these letters. The graph editor at the position looks as follows. To emphasize each letter, we added these shapes. They follow the contours of these letters and keep the sharp shapes so that they don't get out of the style. All of them are also animated with the trim path modifier, each parameter of which is modified individually in the graph editor. In addition to the appearance of the logo, we also have the disappearance of this logo. Disappearance in the cabinet we have made with the help of the scale parameter, and the disappearance of the text is animated in the inversion. For the animation of the leaf itself, we used all the same standard parameters: position, scale, and rotation. The graph editor here looks as follows. Each parameter here is animated individually, including scale and position. The amount of bend parameter is also not left without attention. And if we remember, we have a binding to null object. This animation is necessary for more detailed rotation. The letter T at the end we also didn't leave out and added this little detail. It's a small clap, which is visualized by shapes like this. At first glance, the animation may seem complicated, but if you practice with the Ben Layers script, you will eventually learn to control it and understand the principles of its work. At the end we added sound effects and we got this animation. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.